Ooh. God damn it. There we go. No, your sound is not messed up. Um, OBS decided that it was going to have me muted when I loaded things up. Sorry about that, folks, but to do a bit of catch up, we are going to be covering Festival of Fighters, at least its alpha playtest, and Motobushido. But I already mentioned a bit on the Wusen. On the Wusen, uh, the things that you're supposed to honor, namely your word, your lineage, your fellow warrior, your strength, and your reputation. Mm-mm. The principles might be interpreted differently by different fighters. Some of these interpretations might be contradictory or at odds, because there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to this. Uh, and of course, the whole nature of gathering places and how certain establishments can be just as much of a gathering place as gyms. Uh, most major cities feature Haishan-run underground fighting leagues where quick funds can be earned or skills tested. The central principle with this sort of thing is the old martial ways are still present. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. And speaking of fighting games, you can have within the Haishan, you can have people who manipulate ki, people who are practitioners of mystic arts, as well as people who have some sort of cybernetics or or are psychics. Yeah, though although you could probably do a better Mortal Kombat story here than what NRS has been doing the last few years. There's my first of many low-hanging fruit shots. Because I get that they want to do more dedicated stories. The problem is they're not very good at it. Uh, well, even on the fighting part, they something that I've covered a few days ago is it's kind of funny that every major fighting game franchise is making moves except Mortal Kombat. 'Cause you have a whole crossover with Street Fighter um and City of Wolves. That is introducing a few things, including fucking geese. Sorry, sorry. Every time I think of geese, I feel my blood pressure going up. Mm. In this case, it is nightmare geese, so we're doing that again. Uh, obviously, Street Fighter is launching its next wave of things. Tekken is launching its expansion characters next wave, and Dead or Alive is making a comeback as well with a new project that's been being announced. But Mortal Kombat completely mum. Uh, I'm guessing the whole trick of guest DLC characters isn't bailing them out like it has like it has for the past few years. Invincible, Hellboy, the Ninja Turtles have shown up in NRS projects. Uh, even fuck yeah, even fucking Rambo. Uh, the problem is that those add-ons work for a few weeks, and then it's back to square one. And uh, I think the real damning thing is the fact that they keep trying to reinvent their mechanics every game, even reinvent how certain characters play. Which if you go from like Street Fighter 5 to 6 as a Ryu main, you're not gonna have to completely overhaul your approach all that much. But that's definitely the case if you were a um, Sub-Zero main in going from like 9 to X. But getting back on the rails. After that, they do go into the martial sects. The big movers and shakers organizations. Though they do state that a martial sect could be as small as a single school in an inner city, while bigger ones could be full-on megacorps. Uh, so this is where you could have your equivalent to Shadowloo if you want. Some of these could be ancient brotherhoods to Greece, going all the way back to ancient Greece to ancient orders of monks in China. Uh, and Mario says NRS has become the town donkey of fighting games. Everyone is taking them for a ride. Um, just just don't go to a donkey show, no matter what anyone tells you. Mm-mm. But the sects are the 8 sacred pillars, who are very much the old world powers. A loose alliance of old sects. The Kakuregai clan, a ninja clan hidden in Los Angeles. The Moonshadow Pavilion, a sect of martial scholars hailing from the ancient Wulin. The Roda de Orun, a Brazilian faction dating to the early 1700s. Mm-hmm. The House of Guisin, yep, which is descended from a noble house of the Silla Kingdom in what is now South Korea. The Cabal of Transmutation, a cabal of private organizations. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Anodyne Laboratories, who does biotech. So, sweet, man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. Yep. Their rival Sakura Industries, which deals with robotics, AI, and transhuman tech. Yep. Section Omega, a Black Ops agency. That operates semi-independently. The Tatsunaga Zaibatsu, so Japanese old money, of course. And House von Wolfheim, which on the surface is a cargo and transportation company backed by old money from a German noble house. But in reality is a global crime syndicate. Oh, no, no, House von Wolfheim, if I had to guess, this is the Thule Society. Uh, then you... Yep. Let's see, the things like the Wandering Gates, which is a sect that is focused on independence. Uh, Obviously, since we're dealing with sects, we have to have the Beggar Clan. Mhm. And the a more sport athletic approach with the World Martial Sporting Association. Which the idea is to have it be treated as a subset of sports with sports style regulation, but the other sects look at them as bureaucratic busybodies. And the Zoan Refuge Legion. uh, but then we have a few of the important contests. Obviously, the Festival of Fighters, the Contest of the Mightiest. Uh, these are basically the big tournaments. Uh, then a few important places. As one of them is Xanadu. Let's not make that joke. I'm not singing. Ha, ha. But before we get into the vibe system, I need to hit the BRB for one moment. So I'll catch you guys in a minute.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen. So, after getting a little bit into the setting, which I did skim over a bit, but there's some nice stuff there. We go into what's known as the vibe system for the rule set. Um, there's a part of me that wonders if it calls itself the vibe system as a nod to the groove system in Capcom vs SNK 2, which I've mentioned this in the past, but the guy who designed that system would later on design the style system for Devil May Cry 3. I guess he just took his notes from one game and moved it over to another. But the core mechanic is 2d10. And it's looking like it's going to be doing a percentile approach. So roll under percentile, the average roll for stat and skill scores will start at 25 to 35. For a trained individual, 30 is average. And if... Oh yeah. And there's times where your level of stat or skill will directly affect the outcome. In this particular instance, it is always referring to the tens digit. But then we have character composition, which that's an interesting way to write out character creation. First the concept, then the Taiji currents. The two currents that represent two aspects of your background. These currents can be rolled or chosen from a chart to help determine these aspects. So you have the yin current, the aspect of the fighter's life that's the fundamental building block to who they are as the person, and the yang current, which defines their drive or why they journey through the Wusen. And of course, your choice of kin. Obviously, most characters are going to be humans, but there are exceptions. Then we have, of course, background info. Then the three main stats, which are body, mind, and spirit. How tri-stat of the game. Then the will points, which is a stat that determines your ability to succeed via sheer force of will. It says you get an advantage during the course of play in exchange for accepting penalties. The advantage can vary from changing a failed result to a success to gaining a clue to a mystery. All advantage are at the complete discretion of the GM, including the potential cost of forcing the advantage. For every point of will used, you suffer a -2 penalty to all rolls until will is restored. Once used, will points are replenishable with rest and/or boosted morale. What constitutes that and how many points are replenished is up to the discretion of the game master. I'm not sure how I feel about a cumulative -2 penalty for will points. I may come back to this later, but I feel like as is, you may run the risk of that making people be a little conservative with will points. Obviously, it's -2 on a D100, so it's not as damaging as it could be. But you know how it is with escalating penalties, and I think we talked about this a few days ago when we covered 7th Third Edition. How, the death spiral in 2nd and 3rd edition have an escalating bonus the higher you go, but the higher you are in the end of the death spiral, the closer you are to getting helpless. So you can't push your luck. obviously health points are health points. Armor points are essentially temp HP. Uh, then we have movement rate, self-explanatory there. Then personal skills, not to be confused with the personal skills from Wild Arms. uh, these are your non-combat skills, which you start with 3, and they can be improved over time. The first of these will always be your profession. Uh, then we have fighting style. The way you engage in the combat system. This is made of traits and stances obtained through taking archetype levels during the character creation process. These aspects of fighting style can be improved and customized through character advancement. So, fighting styles are more narrative-based affairs. So it's not going to be focused on the minutia of what angle you punch at, for example, which is a fine approach. Probably because you have a mixture of archetype and stances. So archetypes are the core modes of fighting that you use to build your fighting style. You purchase a number of levels from the list of archetypes to gain your starting stances and a series of traits that grant bonuses or abilities that encourage a certain style of play during combat. You can focus on a single archetype for increasing returns on that mix, or mix and match to develop a style all your own. So, if that's the case, then quote-unquote multi-classing is encouraged in this system. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. uh, then we have stances. When you spend a level in an archetype, you gain its stance. The stance is what the fighter will actually use to attack, and this is made up of 4 aspects that measure varied performance. Stance skill, which is akin to personal skills. If you spend experience on a skill advancement, that advancement can apply to a stance skill, just as it would a personal skill. This is going to be your attack roll. Then damage. Each stance attack has a base damage that will be rolled on the polyhedral set. Each stance does a different die in base damage. Then combo strikes. This is the amount of attack rolls that can be made against opponents when a attack action is made. Each combo strike is an attack, and each has the chance of doing damage. So the number of attacks you get. And effective range, so self-explanatory there. If you try an attack outside of the effective range, you suffer a penalty. And techniques are the special abilities you get to perform while in that stance. Up to 3 techniques can be learned under a stance in most cases. Then traits, which are bonuses and abilities that you get during character creation and advancement. These are gained through your kin, archetype, and later on techniques. And in addition, you have the resource die, which, based on the way it's described here, I get the feeling it's working the same way that resource dies work in, say, the Black Hack. If you need resources to get something, you'd roll the die. If you roll anything other than a 1, you get it. If you roll a 1, you get it with some consequence, and the resource die drops a level. If you get winnings or get treasure or whatnot, the die goes up by a level. course, then possessions and experience, self-explanatory there. And it looks like we're doing advancement as a XP as currency approach. So 1 XP, increase your HP by your body bonus. This would be the tens digit on the body stat. 2 XP, plus 5 to any skill score. 3 XP, plus 5 to any stat score. 3 XP, as well as adding a technique to a stance. 4 XP, get a new personal skill at 25 plus 1d10. 4 XP, get a new style level. And 5 XP, replace a technique in a stance. I don't know about how I feel about that last one. I get that there's certain retraining arcs, but so I feel that retraining shouldn't be something you have to spend resources on. Mm-hmm. We'll probably get the answer to that shortly. There are some there are some limitations. There is a diminishing return after a score of 50 is reached. When taking an advancement in a skill or stat that's reached 50 or higher, the resulting increase will be +2 instead of +5. And when it comes to HP increases, once HP goes past 26, the resulting increase will be 1d4 rather than using your body bonus. And then we get into character creation proper, which first step is creating a concept. Deciding name, deciding background info, then rolling for the Taiji currents. Which, unlike the yin and yang we saw in Oka Hoshin, these seem to be more of a guideline. For example, one of the yin currents might be inheritor of your late master's legacy, while one mm-hmm. Which, as somebody who grew up with Mel Gibson movies in the 90s, that is the reddest of red flags. That's also why you never ever say that you're 3 days away from retirement. Yeah, you know better. The Yang current is the core motivation that's driving you to seek out combat. And yeah, you have the whole seeking worthy fighters, or a personal mystery, or a rematch, or sworn revenge. Or determined to become the strongest fighter. The kind of things you would expect in this kind of game. I remember somebody on the U3 subreddit did a thing called Ash Ketchum: A Legacy of Failure, just going over all the different tournaments that he was in and got eliminated from. Obviously, that thing is out of date because eventually he won the Orange League, but mm, On one hand, yes. On the other hand, as somebody who's had to go through many choke jobs as a sports fan, when you end up having so many almost, it kind of damages. But it's one of those things where there's ways to lose properly, but you can't go back to that well so many times. At least like look at say Goku in Dragon Ball and how each time he did lose there was a decent reason for it. The first time was because oh Jackie Chan played dirty. Oh, the second time was well it's kind of hard to win the match when there's no ring. And the third time was against King Piccolo, which, well, not King Piccolo, but Piccolo Jr., which of course that had to be a win. But anyway, after the whole currents, you choose your kin, uh, which each will provide a character type and two traits to the trait list. And after that, you assign your three statistics. You would prioritize these as strong, average, and below average, which will assign a percentage value. Strong is 35, average is 30, below average is 25. Oh, if you assign body if body gets assigned strong, it's got a base stat of 35, for instance. It's the whole assigning values instead of rolling it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Uh, Thank you for describing every Zerg player I've ever played against. Uh, but once the starting values are set up, you roll 1d10 for each stat and add it to the starting score. And there are certain qualities that can modify it. Uh, Now, whenever something talks about the stat bonus, it is talking about the tens digit that you have for that stat. So if you have a body of 30 and something calls for the body bonus, that bonus is 3. Um, will points are determined by adding your body and spirit bonuses. So that determines the starting pool of will points that you have. Health points are determined by rolling 1d4, then adding 10 plus your body bonus. Why the 1d4 though? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Normally you don't have armor points unless you've got a trait that says so. It's unlikely that most characters will have armor points at the start. Uh, then the movement rate is your body stat and dividing by 15, rounding down. So the stat score in total, not the tens. Which makes a movement rate of 2 and average speed for a physically fit character. So, with personal skills, the next step, as mentioned before, these are your non-combat skills. If the player doesn't know what they want to pick for that, they can roll 1d10 on this table. Regardless of what you end up choosing, you have 3 set scores to assign. One of them starts at 40, one at 35, one at 30, and all 3 get that 1d10 bonus. So then we have the fighting style. First off, you start with 3 archetype levels that can be spent in archetypes. In doing so, you get traits under that archetype starting from level 1 and climbing with each level spent. These traits are added to the trait list, and that's in addition to traits that you get from your choice of kin. When you get your first level in an archetype, you get that archetype stance. And when you get the stance, you get the stance skill, which always starts at 30 plus 1d10. You also get a d8 as your starting resource die, and any possessions that are based on your background at player and GM discretion. So, then we have kin in more detail. The first one we have is cyborgs. And obviously, the poster child for this kind of thing is going to be Jax. I was gonna say the Jax series in Tekken, but no, those guys are full-on robots. Although, would you count Yoshimitsu as a cyborg? Mm-hmm.
I think he kind of has like a puppet arm kind of deal where it's just kind of like mechanical, but I don't know. I can't remember
Yeah.
now.
I think it'd be borderline for the
Yeah,
Soul
borderline.
series. For Tekken, not so borderline.
True enough. True enough. True enough. Like Tekken has a number of robotic android cyborg characters.
Mm-hmm. Plus, unless it's the Dread Pirate Roberts effect, where there's different people playing Yoshimitsu over the centuries. There's no way that that the original Yoshimitsu should still be alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the other hand,
Admittedly, I'm not hip to Yoshimitsu lore, so.
yeah. On the other hand, because Yoshimitsu's doing the bandit hero archetype, I could easily see him being the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Or Robin Hood, because apparently there were multiple Robin Hoods. Who knows? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you do pick Cyborg as your kin, you do start with 10 armor points. As well. Then we have Elementals. Humans whose lineage has been altered by some mystical source to tie their bloodline into the fundamental forces of nature. Uh, this usually manifests as being able to generate and manipulate certain elements.
All right, all right. So feels a little. I know Raiden's a god, of course, but feels like Raiden kind of thing, or
Or
Sub-Zero, I suppose.
or any of those elemental characters from King of Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like the
I'd say
Kusanagi.
especially anybody in the Kusanagi or Yagami lineage,
Hmm.
and Ash
Or that
Crimson.
one girl with the ice power.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But the you do get additional elemental damage from in your attacks, though which type of damage depends on which elements you're doing, and it seems we have a bit of a rock paper scissors approach when it comes to what elements you are strong or weak against, or at least a suggested one.
Oh, look, it's Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I like
No,
how it's sand and not like earth.
although these are just suggested elements and their relationships. See, then we have Esper. This is that's definitely Athena. Uh, then the foe, which could be androids, clones, memories given form, or possessed puppets. Basically, an artificial creation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then the host, which the body has become a vessel for some additional entity.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Which I know would be tempting to say Venom with this kind of thing, but I'm gonna go a different approach. Zappa from Guilty Gear, and how many things
Yeah.
possess him.
I'm also thinking like what was that one vampire hunter from Darkstalkers? The dude
Donovan.
with the monk beads. Yeah, Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see that as well.
Yep. Then we have
Hmm.
Outlier, which is biologically an ordinary human, but is a step above.
The 1% of humanity. Hi,
Uh,
Captain America.
mhm. Let's see, then
Stars and stripes.
which by the way, given that since Tokon Fighting Souls is on the horizon, I think a new bit of terminology has to be introduced, because when it comes to fighting game terminology, are you guys familiar with a happy birthday?
Mm-mm.
Is that? No, it's not what it. Is that when you attack somebody when you're like rising up?
No.
Okay.
A happy birthday is what is typically in team fighters, where because somebody screwed up on an assist, two characters get stuck in the same combo.
I got you.
If you get all three stuck in a combo, that's called Merry Christmas.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great big gift. I can understand that.
Tokon Fighting Souls is gonna have 4v4, so we need a new term for
Oh.
that.
Hanukkah.
Happy Golden Week.
I was thinking Happy Halloween.
Mm. Or how about a trick or treat?
Nay.
There we go.
Only reason why I said Hanukkah is because it's 7 days of presents. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And no one cares about Kwanzaa.
What's a Kwanzaa? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Apologies to anyone who celebrates.
To anyone who celebrates, I will just remind you, all's fair in love and riffing. Uh, but then we have Reanimated. I'm tempted to make the
Yeah.
green color joke, but no.
The zombie dude from Darkstalkers.
Or how about Cervantes?
Or
Cervant-
Cervantes, yeah.
Cervantes.
Lord Raptor,
Lord.
Cervantes, Hisienko.
I'm a little bit biased towards Lord Raptor, but that's mainly because Scott McNeil.
Zombie Zangief.
And all of
Zangief.
the Revenant characters in MKX.
True.
But then we have
Not quite dead yet. Sorry.
Yeah. Then we have the Zoan, which this is Bloody Roar.
Bloody Roar. Sorry.
I remember I played that a little bit. Like I remember the rabbit being a big terror in that game.
The half beast, the tiger. Oh God.
Yep. But then we have fighting style. As mentioned before, you're picking archetype levels and getting benefits from that. So let's see what archetype.
3 levels at start.
Yep. This means you can dump everything into one archetype or go with others. So first we have the All-Rounder, which does 1d6 damage, 2 times combo at close to medium range. And depending on the levels that you put, that is going to give you additional benefits. So when you take an archetype, you're getting the level 1 benefit and the stance. I am going to assume you cannot attack with multiple stances at once.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that was an option based on what we've read.
But because of the way archetypes work out, you could do stance dancing a la Gen from Street Fighter.
Yeah, they do have a stance later on.
I'd say All-Rounders is going to be your poster child characters, your Ryus, your... technically speaking, Morgan is the all-rounder in Darkstalkers.
Perhaps
now I'm
Martial
imagining-
Law.
Now I'm imagining Morgan in like a standard karate gi.
And those jack of all trades characters that you're supposed to have as the starting character. The only exception who is the poster child, but I wouldn't call them the starter character, is Akira in Virtua Fighter. Dear God, he is not.
Yeah.
The poster boy character in fighting games usually means he's the easiest one to start with. Akira is not easy.
Nope.
I'd say in Tekken, that honor would go to Jin. He's kind of been that since 3.
Yeah.
In DOA, that's most definitely Kasumi. I'd say in Fatal Fury, that's gonna be
Bogarts.
Yeah, that's gonna be Terry. In King of Fighters, I'd say that's gonna be K. And
not Mr. Kusanagi Kyo.
Yeah, Kyo. I don't know why I said K.
I mean, isn't K a clone of Kyo?
Yeah.
K Prime, yeah.
But then we have Charge. Charge
Guile.
does a lot of damage, but isn't very good at comboing.
Guile.
Yeah, I could see Guile. I could also see Order Soul.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of your all-rounder, soul bad guy.
Yep. Then counter characters, the ones that everybody really really hates.
Hi, Biken.
Yeah, Biken is definitely one of them. Dudley is another. I think we all remember Dudley orders fries.
Yep.
I'd say, since you guys were talking about the Cydia when I was was at the BRB stage, X Death.
Not the Emperor. Oh, X Death, got it. Emperor's more of a zoner, actually. Now that I think about it.
Also,
X Death, right?
yeah. Also, if you really want to get someone salty, King when he's doing his full grapple combos. Especially if he's
Speaking
doing like
of grapplers.
Yep. Then we have
Speaking of grapplers.
Yep. This is pretty much every single command grab character ever is gonna fit into this circuit. No, Potemkin, Tager, both Bass and his daughter Tina.
Yep.
King, Marduk, Armor King. Obviously Zangief. You know, anybody who interprets "give me a hug" as command grab. Also, Wolf Hawkfield, who did have a presence in All Japan Pro Wrestling in the 90s. Kind of. But then we have the good old Rushdowns. Chip Zanif.
Yep. Holy Zen!
I'd also say...
what was the name of the ninja dude from Street Fighter? I'm blanking.
I'd also say a certain werewolf in Darkstalkers would fit under Rushdown.
Yeah.
Who people really, really hate when dealing with him.
Maxi from Soul Calibur.
But they don't have much. Their range is either close or grappling, but they have a 3 combo instead of 1 or 2 like some of the others. Of course, the good old zoners.
Yeah, baby.
There's no shortage of examples for zoners. Then we have the special archetypes like Puppet.
Yep.
I'd say
Zato 1.
Yeah. Zato 1/Eddie would definitely fit under that. I'd also say a certain family of puppet masters that are slowly going insane in BlazBlue also counts.
Yeah.
I mean, how could I not call you insane when you're treating the puppet as if it was your older sister?
True enough.
Then stance fighters who use multiple stances. I'd say this is where you'd put someone like Gen.
Fighters with this archetype can only learn 2 techniques per stance. Interesting.
But I feel like the idea of stance fighters is that they are a switch hitter. Then fighting style advancement, you can either increase your stance skill score, you can learn techniques, or you can add archetype levels. Now, you can spend XP to permanently add +5 to your stance skill, which is going to increase the chance of hitting, as well as increasing damage dealt from stance skill bonus. And when it comes to damage, I noticed that it seems to range from D4 to D8, with most of them being D4s. You're just attempting to hit multiple times. But when stance skill reaches 50, it becomes awakened. You gain 1 permanent advancement to your awakened stance from the list below. So either increase the damage die by 1 tier, increase effective range by 1 adjacent range type, increase the number of combo strikes by 1, or the number of technique slots by 1. You only get 1 of these, and you can't do it again.
So, what happens if you have the stance fighting style? Do you increase both of your stances?
I would say yes.
Oh.
But at a skill score of 65, you're considered to have mastered that stance, at which you immediately unlock a finishing move. When performing a stance attack and all strikes immediately hit, you can chain that combo into a finishing move at the cost of 1 will point. This finishing move automatically hits its target and deals triple the damage die rolled.
Okay.
And you can get additional archetype levels, which we already saw that you can't get higher than 3 at character creation, but you can cap it out at 5. You can also learn techniques, and you also have the option of wayfinding, which is intended to be a personal challenge where you replace a technique with another. This was something we talked about earlier. I'm still kind of iffy about the idea of spending XP for that sort of thing. And when you've journeyed long enough or established yourself within your sect, you can get a legendary technique. In order to do that, you have to seek out a master or undertake a trading journey. And essentially getting legendary techniques is something that's going to be GM permission, it seems like.
It'll be fine. I'll be a grappler and learn how to wrestle bears while in the middle of a tornado.
Well, remember, Luferigno threw a bear into space.
And Zangief learned the spinning pile driver from being in a tornado.
Yeah. Seriously, the 81 Hercules movie with Lou Ferrigno was wild.
Yeah.
But when it comes to techniques, these are divided into combat techniques, utility techniques, kin techniques, which are obviously kin exclusive, and legendary techniques. And because of how short the description is for these, I feel like techniques would be the equivalent of feats or knacks. I do like that the good old fireball, or in this case key ball, is a technique.
Drunken defense, drunken rebound.
Lengthening blow, there's your Dawson thing.
Yep. The utility techniques can have their spot in combat. You've got the good old air dash.
Healing. Oh, yep. Interesting.
And
lightness, you get to run along walls.
Yep. We also have a anti-kin technique called weak point training. You don't need any kin to take this. You choose one character type, biological, technological, or eldritch. Attacks in this stance do plus 1d6 damage to opponents of that type. So, even with the whole thing of feats, I do like that these techniques have to be assigned to archetypes.
Mhm.
Which is going to make stance switching, or those who decide to vary things up, a bit more distinct when it comes to how they develop them, instead of it being all-encompassing.
Indeed.
But and then we have the techniques for the different kins, as mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Then legendary techniques. First one being Banishment of Suffering. Which is basically a limited use key healing. Doesn't heal damage,
reverse
but
healing.
uh, and obviously some of these have a bit more to them than the techniques that we saw before, which would certainly fit the legendary part of it.
Oh, I see a Kamehameha.
Yep.
Cloud hop, so you have a triple jump.
Hmm. And when it comes to combat, first off, initiative is D10 plus your movement rate. When it comes to ranges, it is doing a vague range zone, which certainly fits. Doing hard numbers would kind of miss the point. The ranges are grappling, close, medium, far, extended, and extreme.
I think the only reason why they added extreme on there is for people who really wanted to improve their fighting style to reach that far, because nothing really reaches that far automatically.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. So with actions, we have movement, basically moving based on your movement rate. You have a variant with high jump. As well as stance attacking. So when doing damage, you're using the stance damage die and its skill bonus. So remember 10's digit. Though adversary stat blocks do not have stance skill scores, instead the roll to hit is against their body or spirit stats, depending on the adversary type. I'm guessing that's a means to simplify matters and make it so that you don't have to do stances for every mook you end up fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You do have the option of a desperate attack, where when rolling against stance skill, you're guaranteed a +10 to hit, as well as an additional d6 to any damage die. Dealt only to the first combo strike, the rest rolling is normal. However, you expend your reaction, and opponents get a +5 to hit you until your next turn. So this is your wild swing, essentially.
Yep.
But I think the bonus to hit that it grants should maybe be a +10 if the bonus itself is a +10. The +5 isn't going to have as much of an impact, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Then we have body check. If you've done a movement action and moved up to grappling range of a target, you can do a body check to attempt to knock them to the ground. If successful, the target makes a body roll with the attacker's result being the target number. If the roll is successful, they're standing. If not, they're knocked prone. Okay, that's definitely going to be useful for rush down types.
Yep.
Oh, see, then grapple is a roll against body stat at grappling range. The target can make an opposed body check with the attacker's result as the target score. If the target succeeds, they break free of the grapple, otherwise they're locked in. And of course, once grappled, you can attempt a throw. This is an opposed body check. On a success, you either throw them out to medium range, leaving them prone. You throw them out to medium range. There's no either. I don't know why I said that. Leaving them prone and inflicting body bonuses in damage. You also have aerial attack. Either after dropping off a ledge or following a high jump, you can roll your stance skill check to hit with your first combo strike as normal. Should the attack connect after damage is dealt, the target has to succeed at a body check or be knocked prone. Should they be prone, any more combo strike rolls from the stance attack get the plus 10 bonus to hit from the target being prone. Should the attacker miss, they must succeed at a body check or sacrifice any remaining combo strikes from their stance attack. In either event, the attacker will land within grappling range of the target, continuing any further combo strikes from that range.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if my aerial attack is from a distance? Because I'm a zoner, and I hate people like that.
That is a good question.
Because it doesn't cover that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it is because a lot of these attacks are obviously going to be from up close and personal, usually.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, if I'm doing an aerial attack as a zoner, I'm hitting them from a distance, which means, do I still count it as an aerial attack? Am I still technically able to knock them prone? Like, I don't know.
I think since it's assuming you're doing a high jump, which allows you to move two ranges closer to your opponent, I think they're assuming that you're going to be in close enough range, and you're going to be in grappling range after the fact, since you're jumping in an arc. But
so that means I can high jump away from them. Good to know.
mm-mm. But I think the whole you end at grappling range, I think that should be revisited.
Mm-hmm. Like, I can understand if you're a zoner or if you're attacking from afar, you don't get the aerial attack strike. Because you're not really, like, getting the extra oomph from, like, physically hitting them with gravity on your side, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I think aerial attack is supposed to be a plunging attack, not necessarily just striking in the air. But
Fair enough.
and there's technique attacks, which is always rolled against the stance skill score that the technique is associated with. You can take an action to change your active stance. If you took that stance dancing style that we saw earlier, you can switch between its two stances without doing it as an action.
Nice, nice, nice.
Use a personal skill, self-explanatory there. You can choose to inspire,
Go team.
which is a spirit check. If that succeeds, then the target character has a +5 bonus to their next roll. Seems a little low.
I guess they don't want people to... Like, maybe it's stacks? If you have, like, a 3v3 kind of deal? I don't know.
Whereas Intimidate is also a spirit check against enemies that applies a -5 penalty.
Ah, taunt. Good to know.
Mhm. Uh, then delay is the delay action, and of course miscellaneous is anything that doesn't fit the above entries. Then when it comes to reactions, we have dodge, which is a body check against the attacker. If you succeed, no damage. Then block, if you're within grappling range, or an ally within grappling range. So is this supposed to be taking the hit for someone else?
Get down, Mr.
Yeah.
President.
Well, that's what the first bullet says.
Mm-hmm. Which, and then of course you have parry instead, which does require grappling or close
Got
range
it.
stance. It's a bit
So
odd
that's
that
the one
there
for
is.
yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit odd that there's no way to do blocking when you're the target, but I'm guessing that's just supposed to be the standard check.
Mm.
Calling the take the hit for an ally thing block, I think it just threw me off.
Yeah. I would have called that cover instead, but that's just me.
Then we have collateral attack, where after you've been attacked by a stance, you can expend a reaction to try and get a free attack back. To perform it, you have to take all damage from the opponent's attack, including all combo strikes.
Oh no!
Then make a stance check with a -10 penalty. On a success, you hit and roll damage as normal. This penalty applies to all available combo strikes in the collateral attack. If you're targeted by a collateral attack, you're permitted to use your reactions as you would against a normal attack action.
Okay.
Let's see. Then they get into conditions. So we have sensory overload, system shock, stunned,
Actually,
prone, and
there's something I
incapacitated.
noticed. There's
Shoot.
something I noticed. They don't have juggling.
Yeah.
That is a bit
Like,
odd.
there's no rule for, like, knocking someone into the air and then just consistently hitting them while they're vulnerable.
Yeah, and I do remember Musha Shugyo had that. But
I wonder if they just forgot about it?
well,
Well, this is still an alpha, so
yeah, and the alpha came out very recently. And that, because I remember posting the alpha when I caught wind of it, and that was 9 days ago. But we also have the hypermeter, because of course we gotta have a hypermeter. It
Hyper
says
combo finish!
has 10 charges. When you make an attack action, a reaction, use a technique, or spend a will point, you get 1 charge to the meter. You can make use of the energy in the meter in one of 2 ways: a hyper strike or enter hyper mode. Once combat ends, this meter resets to 0. So hyper strike,
sorry.
once completely full while making a stance attack, you can expend all meter charges to make 1 combo strike from the attack an instant critical hit. This strike automatically hits and deals critical damage to the target. After the completion of the attack, the meter will be reset to 0 charges. Or hyper mode, you expend the current number of charges in the meter, and while in this state, all attacks deal an additional +1 damage, and you gain armor points equal to the number of charges you expended. These armor points will naturally reduce by 1 point per round. Once these armor points have been reduced to 0, whether naturally by absorbing damage, you drop out of hyper mode, resetting the meter to 0.
Interesting.
So,
I'd have to see how an actual fight goes because at the moment I see no reason not to choose hyper mode.
I think the issue.
Well, maybe if you're coming to the end of a battle and you want to finish it up quickly, might want to go with the strike instead of the mode.
Ah, true enough, true enough.
I think the thing that's bugging me is the fact that you have to spend you have to spend all the meter charges and it has to be completely full to do that strike. I can see that for mode, but for strike, I think
Yeah,
dealing
it
critical
seems
damage isn't
lackluster.
enough for what you're putting into it.
Like, maybe if every hit from your combo is a critical?
Uh,
But
especially
even then,
especially since I get what the hypermeter is trying to be, but a lot of times when you have fighting games that have some sort of super meter or something like that, you have levels of it, and
hmm
different special moves take different levels of it.
like, hyper mode says current number of charges. Hyper
Mhm.
strike says one's completely full. So, like, if instead for hyper strike, if you got like a combo attack for every level of your uh hypermeter so that you basically do a full hyper combo, I could understand, right? Or like you add an extra dice of damage for every level of your uh hypermeter to do a really big hit.
Mhm.
Like I could see that instead of a critical, though admittedly, what exactly does a critical entail again?
So
Because I
critical
don't recall seeing the.
is if you roll a 1 on a stance skill check, you
Oh,
damage is equal to the max damage of the stance used. So basically criticals are max damage.
it, lackluster.
Yeah.
Completely lackluster. Like again, if it was like adding extra die damage or giving you extra attacks, I could see it. But just a crit?
Now granted you have to roll a 1 on the D100, but even then max damage just getting a 1, I I do think that's a little bit the juice is not worth the squeeze kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like I I just don't see the draw.
Is just so I'm not talking out of my ass, let me check something with basic role playing. Actually, let me go with something that yeah, basic role playing that'll do. So let me dig up Mithras. I haven't dug up Mithras in a while. Um, especially since the imperative version that is using that was one of the first adopters of the orc license. And the reason I'm looking at Mithras for this is that is using basic role playing, which for a lot of people is the D100 setup. Because what I want to see is okay. So bad example because Mithras Imperative doesn't have criticals in the usual sense because of the whole damage location thing that it does. Oh. But I feel like max damage it's certainly going to be potent, but for the hypermeter, I'm not sure that's an the issue
Yeah.
that I think we're
Mm,
seeing with hypermeter and with this is the effort not being worth it. Um,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I think the bigger problem, the meter having 10 charges, so you need 10, you need it completely full. I'm wondering if this is something that might be better served as a variable effect instead of these two. Basically, I get what hypermeter's trying to be. I just think it might need a little bit of expansion.
Yeah. Again, like I don't like the once completely full if it's just for a crit.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Mm. Anyway,
I think it'd be. I
oh,
think
I should get going, unfortunately.
yeah. But before you go, what's your take on Festival of Fighters?
Oh, we're at the bottom already.
Yep.
Um, so I I like what it's trying to do. I see what it's doing. I see the options it offers, but since it's just an alpha and the way that it's offering itself, have you ever heard of jump chain?
I believe so, but refresh my memory.
It it's just it's essentially kind of like a story writing game almost. They give you a set amount of points to like build a character, give yourself abilities, and then you basically write a narrative of your character going through whatever anime or setting for like 10 years and then move on from there. This has that same feel almost, where it's like you customize your character and you're doing this thing with the point buy and all of that, making your stances, and it feels like it still needs a little more oomph. Like it has a decent enough setting. I'm hesitantly waiting for more, especially with the hypermeter. But it looks okay. Like I wouldn't mind trying to make a character and seeing how it plays, but only after it has a little more substance.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, Personally, the core is nice. I think there's some things that need a little expansion, and
Mhm.
uh, the hypermeter, as it is, the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to be a 1% chance to set it off.
10% if you're in beast mode as a Zoan, because they get 1 through 10 out of the D100.
Hmm. But what Sizer, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I think what it does seemingly what it does is the one-on-one combat fighting game simulation, and it seems to do that pretty well. What I'm wondering about is, does it do anything else terribly well? Right, because it's a role-playing game, not just a fighting game. So I'm wondering, do they have specific rules for fighting a bunch of mooks? You know, it seems like it'd be fairly easy to do a fighting tournament, but that has the issue of, you know, having a lot of the party sort of sitting idle while your character fights whoever they're going to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I see those issues. Um, I just kind of would like, I definitely see the hyper mode or the hyper meter issue. But all in all, I would like to see more built up with being able to engage in combat in different scenarios and to um, be able to do other things aside from throwdown. You know, um,
Yeah, I definitely would love to see how the fighting style goes, in all honesty.
yeah. So other than that, those are my critiques. But I like the ideas here, and I think you could come up with some very interesting and fun characters, mixing and matching the different, all the different archetypes and stances and techniques.
Hmm.
I think they've got something very interesting going on here. It just seems more fighting game than role playing game to me right now.
Uh, which I've I've had my back and forth whenever I've seen people refer to certain games as not having enough role playing mechanics, which they never really
Mhm.
define. Um,
Sure.
I think the
I should get going. Sorry.
no no worries, Joe. I'll see you next time.
Take care,
Mm.
everyone, and enjoy the next game that they're gonna do.
Good night, Joe.
So as I said, I've seen people refer to certain games as too much of a board game or card game or whatever, and not a role playing game. Um, I think what we're seeing here is an attempt to try and nail down the foundation before we get any of the extra stuff. And
Okay.
when it comes to when it comes to that foundation, it is fairly solid. Um, I could see how you could do it, how you could do a group setup. Um, especially since tag battles are very much a thing. Um,
Through that.
I do think having some way of letting people participate if you're doing if you're doing a one-on-one tournament should is something that should be considered. I think the big thing, just focusing on the foundation, is the hypermeter needs a bit of expansion. Either reduce the amount of charges that it has, or give it a bigger variety in what you can do with it. Uh,
What if you could do a crit with just like a charge of 3? Um,
yeah,
maybe
that's
that would be more worthwhile.
yeah. It's more of the of making sure that the amount of effort you're putting into it and what you're getting out of it are be, are trying to figure out how to put it, are better presented, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when it comes to the rest of the core, uh, the I think the rest of it is solid. There's a few minor things here and there. I think one of the big things that just made me raise my eyebrow is the fact that you have to spend XP to essentially retrain, which
Yeah, that I agree with you there. It you know, just downtime should be all you need to do that.
mhm. Because
Mhm.
especially if you're just swapping one technique with another, I
Yep.
I struggle to grasp why that would need to be why that would need to be something that you have to spend XP on.
Yeah.
It's possible there's a reason, I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah.
But with that said, that will cover Festival of Fighters. We will take a brief break, and we'll be back at it with Motobushido.
Sounds good.
So, see you in a few.
者の赤棒だマニアの自分からまりだよ
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Now with Motobushido, which can be best described as samurai on motorcycles.
Hell yeah.
So this thing is running at 114 pages. We do have a proper set of bookmarks. Let's see, do we have an index in the back? We do not. So that's one mark against it. But we do have hyperlinks on the table of contents.
So we do. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing to note with this, and this was one of the other reasons I wanted to put this on the list, this is using cards. Just a standard playing card deck.
Okay.
So the first section is just going into what kind of game this is, as well as things like getting the pack together, the writer's salute, and all that. Then we get the section we're going to start with is At Dawn We Ride, pack creation. I do like the little glossary of important terms. That's a very White Wolf thing to do.
Okay. Probably good for me. I don't know too much about Bosozoku or American motorcycle gangs.
Yep. So after going into the first founding, then there's the matter of a template-based character creation. First off, balancing your alignment, then choosing your birth sign, then choosing your role, your fighting style, your bike, your evolutions, and building your initial hand size. Which usually is going to be 2 cards plus any bonus cards you may have gotten through your build.
Okay.
So first off, when it comes to... Oh yeah, I forgot picking out your gear. A lot of it is going to be narrative. But your first step is who is the leader. One of the player characters should be leader, taking the Taicho template. It is possible to begin a game without one, but that's more of an advanced option, so make sure the sensei, this game's name for the GM, is okay with it. Then you'd pick your role template, each of which is based on a thematic archetype. Each role has a example character that serves as a template. Then you can tweak the template by through 2 free character evolutions, through the power trees of either pack, sword, or highway. Should you wish to change your birth sign, fighting style, bike, or evolutions, you would go through custom creation steps. Oh. And there are a few bonuses that are noted. One is hand size. If you get that bonus, then your hand size goes up by 1. Default is 2. Strike range is the strike range for counter and escalate actions in duel. Key base going up increases your key pool by 1. Your default key pool is 7. This is mainly used for empowering dual techs and replenishes at flashbacks and birth signs.
Okay.
Each template also has 3 alignment codes: the Laws of the Pack, the Way of the Sword, and the Code of the Highway. This is referred to as the alignments and codes interchangeably. Each code has a rejection stat and an embodiment stat, a related power tree, and a mechanical realm of empowerment. So the Laws of the Pack is tied to your pack role. Nomad versus Brotherhood, which empowers bonus draws. Way of the Sword is your fighting style, Water versus Steel, which empowers strike range. The Code of the Highway is your motorcycle, Will versus Destiny, which empowers key recovery. Now, the 2 stats in each code, no matter what their spread is, always combine to 6. Neither of them can be above 6 or below 0. So you essentially have 2 stat pairs that have to add up to 6 no matter how you set them up.
Okay.
Then the chain of command. This is essentially a lot of the roles, and each one of these roles has a particular feature that it can grant. Taicho has it that on your first turn in a duel you initiated against another pack member, you can return your initiative card to your hand and play a different one before revealing it. Some nice mind games you can play with that. The Junsho, or High Command. Once per conflict, you can force a lower-ranked pack member opponent to discard their last played card and play another one in its place. A Keikotsu, a Mast. Against any other pack members, your concedes cannot be countered or escalated. And a Shinmai, or a Prospect. Against any other pack members, you can play aces as 14s or 1s. Choose after reveal.
Okay. Okay. So that's I don't think that's the same as the role. It's just kind of where you are in the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at step 6, you have your sacrifices and deeds. These are past exploits you can reflect upon during duels and gambits. Your list of deeds are called legacies, and each legacy is attached to one of the 3 alignments. The first deed of each legacy is always a sacrifice. During pack creation, you and the rest of the table will determine the initial 3 deeds of each pack member. This is a whole group effort that takes some table time, so make sure to have it as a session 0. So the person to your left has the Law of the Pack, the Brotherhood Sacrifice. You'd name another member of the pack and describe how they've wronged the samurai to your left and how the samurai to your left was forced to let it go. To your right, the Way of the Sword, the Murder Sacrifice. Name one person the Motobushi to your right has killed in pursuit of the pack's goals and why. And for yourself, the Code of the Highway, the Relationship Sacrifice. Name one relationship you've abandoned, or one that's abandoned you, due to your pursuit of the Motobushi lifestyle. Each one of these is written under the related first deed slot under that code's legacy. And they advise keeping them short and simple.
Yeah, I like this so far. Just the fact that you're doing it all together in that you're kind of you're not doing character creation as solo. You're doing it as a pack. You're putting your sort of your history as a crew together as you're doing character creation.
Yep. And after that, with the 3 codes, you should have a short statement you feel captures the current balance of your stats in that code. And they do give a few examples for pack, sword, and highway.
Mm-hmm.
After that is stating your hope, your hate, your love, and your doom. So hope is your greatest unattainable desire. You cannot say, I want nothing.
Boring.
For hate, you have to tell everyone the most despicable thing you've ever done to an enemy. You can't say, I have no enemies.
You're Motobushi. How's that gonna even happen? You know.
For love, you have to say the most despicable thing you've done to a lover. I've never had a lover is not an acceptable answer.
Mm-hmm.
And for doom, predict your Motobushi's death based on the current course in his life.
Okay.
Then there are also the pack details about the question of what type of mask you end up wearing, which is the face you show your enemies. Do you do a Mempo, which is a full face mask, or a Hoate, nose and below kind of mask? How does the pack require the member's hair to be styled? What is the command icon for the leader? Things like taboos and superstitions, which they do give a few examples of. The rites of initiation, what a Shinmai has to do to earn his mask. Obviously, pack name and symbol. The other guys, as well. Somebody driving the pack's war wagon or carrying the extra stuff. And their legacy and first deed. As the pack itself has its own legacy and deeds, which is created as you progress through the story. For now, this is a one-sentence summary of the first founding events, and the first recorded deed on a separate pack history note sheet. But the final step is the initial pack resources. The 3 resources are morale, sustenance, and operations. To determine the initial ranks, whoever is playing the Shingari or Taicho, if the Shingari is not in play, draws 3 cards from the deck, 1 for each resource. Jacks are 11, Queens are 12, Kings are 13, Aces are 14. Red Joker is 1, Black Joker is 15. After you draw 3 cards, you assign each one to one of the 3 resources and record them on the pack sheet.
Doesn't seem too likely that you'd get a 15, but who knows?
Now, in terms of what the resource ranges are going to need, 0 is depleted, 1 to 4 is threatened, 5 to 10 is subsistence, 11 to 14 is surplus, 15 or higher is bountiful. I do like that they note that you could get some high draws for all 3 of them. That just means it's going to be low threat early on. But if they're really low, you're going to be fighting for dinner.
Yep. That's how. That's when it gets a little bit down and dirty.
Yep. We do have a few more detailed character options. And you could kind of see these as starting package suggestions. So we have... These would be used during the first founding scene, before pack creation happens. So we have the Bakshi, the sapper, the Gunso, the sergeant, the Kohei, the veteran, the Nariagari, the glory hound, the Seko, or scout, the Shinpei, the new recruit, or the FNG, the Shoji, the lieutenant, the Ashigaru, the grunt. And it knows if there are more than 7 players, then have all additional players play Ashigaru.
Okay.
We already talked about the alignment codes, but there's also the concept of alignment shifts. This basically means you add one to one side of the alignment and subtract from the other. And you can kind of see the way the alignment works with say how Pack has a value for Nomad and Brotherhood, and with no matter which one you've got, it always has to add up to 6.
Got it.
If your character, if your alignment stat would put your character at a rank of 7 in any stat result, that is an alignment death.
All right, we'll get to that in a moment. It looks like what that means exactly.
Yep. You can have a 0-6 balance in stats, and having it in all 3 represents a ideal. Basically, if you did it, you represent the ideal samurai in this setting. However, people are more complicated than that.
Yes.
and while someone who has a perfect 0-6 in all 3 alignments would be possible, it's described that they're always one breath away from their own demise, because 0 and 6 are dangerous stats to have. With a 6 in any alignment, you are one step away from death, one alignment shift away from removal. With a 0 in any alignment, you lack any innate capability to mechanically excel or even function in that area. With a 0 in Nomad or Brotherhood, you risk getting no bonus cards before duels, which is going to limit your options. With a 0 in Water or Steel, you risk Great Stain during action accrual during duels. In fact, you probably won't be able to challenge an opponent without taking stains. And a 0 in Will or Destiny is going to hamper your ability to use and regenerate Ki. Now, if you do end up hitting 7 on alignment, that means the character has reached the end of their line in the game and have to be removed from play. When you reach 7, you are consumed by that particular code. Or you abandon it. And even if doing this doesn't kill you, mechanically speaking, it means you're out of the picture.
Yeah. I guess I'm having a hard time imagining what it means if you get 7. Right?
With 7, you are consumed by that code.
Okay, so you become basically you're almost no longer human because you're so set on this particular code.
And probably in the process piss off everybody in your pack.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of like won't lie, it sucks to lose a character, but it is interesting to see how it can be done mechanically that doesn't result when it's not just, reducing HP to 0.
Mm-hmm.
And failing your death saves or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And when it comes to the alignments, as mentioned, each one has its own mechanical impact. The laws of the pack determine bonus card draws during the beginning of duels. Its stat is Brotherhood, its rejection is Nomad, which we've seen before. High focus on either will give you more cards in certain cases. If you reject the laws of the pack, you go on your own. Basically, you go Nomad. If you're consumed, you just become another faceless mask.
Mm.
The Way of the Sword can impact strike range in duels. With high steel, your strike range is greater when you favor directness. With water, your strike range will be greater when you favor fluidity. If you reject sword, you forsake violence entirely and give up being a Motobushi.
Mm-hmm.
If you're consumed by sword, then you end up committing seppuku due to the pressures on your soul from those you have slain.
I see. Okay.
And in that kind of situation, you would name a second to behead you if you so choose.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dramatic.
Yep. The Code of the Highway can determine key recovery through flashbacks and birth sign triggers. The embodiment is Destiny, which lets you replenish more ki when following fate and acting on a whim. The rejection is Will, where deliberate planning and deeper consideration will get you more ki. If you reject Highway, you leave the pack to settle down somewhere, start a family, and start a new stage of your life. If you're consumed, you take the Sunset Ride, leaving without care or notice, never to be seen again.
Okay, so we got a little Western influence there.
Mm-hmm.
Seems.
Yep. But when it comes to birth signs, this can be used to restore ki mid-game as well as earn lessons for later discussion. Each birth sign has a ki trigger and a lesson trigger. If you abuse the triggers, the game might suffer for it, and your sensei might want to have a talk with you. I.e., you don't want to be that guy.
No. You never want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm. So
people will go and write terrible things about you on our RPG horror stories.
Mm-hmm. So when your ki trigger occurs during play, you can get some points of lost ki. Your sensei will choose between either: was the trigger caused by your own actions or intentions? If so, you get ki back equal to will. If it was due to circumstance, chance, and/or coincidence, you get ki based on your destiny stat. And remember, this is a stat pair that has that rule of 6.
Yep.
Now, if a lesson trigger occurs, you can write down a potential new lesson on your sheet. These would be discussed and voted upon at the end of the session. And remember, lessons don't count unless you learn from them. And we have an example of some of these signs. Some of them require certain things. Like the beta sign, you can't start play as a Taicho. But its key trigger is you concede in a duel. Its lesson trigger is you concede in a duel's 3rd stage and live.
I assume we'll figure out what those duel stages are a little bit later on.
Yeah, dueling is the biggest part of this particular game. But now, then we have the role, which determines your job within the pack, your riding position when the pack is traveling. It will give you a role tech that advances as you evolve it. a secondary tech that's essentially a backup, and a fratricide tech that only applies when you're fighting against your own packmates. And they make clear intra-pack conflict is a thing that can, should, and likely will happen.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see how that would happen. Because you're gonna have these various factors pulling at you one way or the other that will then definitely clash with the other pack members.
Yep. So when it comes to roles, we have Bosozoku, the running tribe. Your riding position, some recommended birth signs, your primary role tech, which is stamp quickly and pass through a wall of iron. The strike range on your initiative card is increased by your pack tier. At tier 4, you can increase the strike range of escalations as well. Your secondary tech is when a higher ranked member gives you an order, you get +1 strike range for duels and techs in service to that order if you act immediately. If you ignore the order or delay taking action, instead replenish ki up to your tier. And your fratricide tech, when you kill another brother in combat, record a lesson and replenish ki equal to their social rank within the pack. 1 for Shinmai, 2 for Keisotsu, 3 for Junsho, and 4 for Taicho. Then permanently increase your ki pool by 1. But the other roles that we have are Hahoya, the Den Mother, Kusawake, the Trailblazer, which I notice is using as his bike a crotch rocket.
Yep.
Mugi Ude, the Enforcer. Shigaka, the Historian. Shingari, the Tail Gunner, which is described as a mix of I think it's supposed to be Grease Monkey, not Grease Money, and Vehicular Quartermaster. Shinmai, the Prospect, which again you are part of it, but you're at the bottom. And of course, Taicho, the pack leader. And each having their own setup with evolutions and the like. There's also recommended birth signs for each role.
Yep, noticed that too. Yeah, the alpha for the Taicho is the fairly obvious one there.
But then we have fighting styles. When you pick your fighting style, you're not only picking your preferred weapon, but also your whole approach to martial conflict. It is both image and function. And as you master your particular style, you get style techniques. At sword tiers 1 through 3, you learn new powers from the common style techs. At tier 4, you get your styles unique. Unless specifically noted, all style techs require ki to activate. The ki cost is equal to the tier of which you learned it.
Okay, so, easy enough.
There's also advice on what common techs combine well with its ultimate technique. But the core styles are Itoryu, so the single blade. Its ultimate technique is EI.
Of course.
Hojutsu, the guns. It could be twin revolvers, a Tommy gun, mounted artillery, a laser pistol.
Laser, okay. Sure.
Kyudo, the bow. which I do like that its ultimate technique is blacken the sky. Then we will fight
Yep.
in the shade. Uh, Naginata Jutsu, so the pole arm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then Nitenichi Ryu, the two swords. This is more.
Wielding.
Yeah, this is more Niten as it is in the Dragon Clan in L5R than using two katana. Though I don't think there's an outright rule that it has to be a katana and wakizashi. It just has to be two swords.
Yeah.
Then we have Sojutsu, the spear, which the spear would make perfect sense for what is essentially mounted combat.
Yes, it would. Just do a little bit of jousting there.
Mm-hmm. Tessen Jutsu, the war fan.
Mm-hmm.
Zanbato Ryu, the great sword.
Here we go. That's mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. This is what my favorite weapon in Neo 3, and also, or they call them. Well, they go with the Odachi in that, but it's it's similar.
Yeah, the Zanbato was that ridiculous sword that Sosuke Sagara. That's Sosuke Sagara. That's a different anime. But the man who would be later nicknamed the Giant Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that only got used once before it broke, because it was meant to cut down horses.
Yep. Basically, just a huge plank of steel.
Mm-hmm. A heap of raw iron.
And from then on, he fought with his fists. So there we go.
Fists and being ridiculously tough. The embodiment of I've still got 1 HP left. But the common techniques are grouped into 3-tier sets based on a theme, which I actually like this. So it's a lot easier to figure out a playstyle you want to go with.
Yeah.
So we have the anti-bike style, self-explanatory. Blocking. I love some of the names of these, like the branch overcomes the tree. The tree overcomes the storm, and leaf in the wind.
Okay.
Just if you do leaf on the wind, just make sure it doesn't end the way it did for Wash.
That's right. Keep an eye out for incoming impaling objects.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Directing the flow. Your strike range. Their strike range. Your hand. Their hand. Key blocking. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Ranged attacks, which of course you can't use if your core fighting style isn't a ranged one. Stain Affliction, which each tech in that tree is a separate ability, and learning the higher one does not overwrite the lower.
Guess we'll find out more about stains in a little bit here, because I don't think we've gone over that yet, have we?
Yeah. Then General Empowerment, which, no, we haven't gone over stains yet.
Yeah.
Then your choice of bikes. Your bike is as much a part of you as your pack roll, your fighting style, and even your name. There are
Cool.
8
I'm down with it.
Yeah, there are 8 bikes you can choose from. Each bike has certain bike stunts to swap out the values of cards you play in duels, as well as the bike stats and stain shifting, where you can deflect stains by shifting them to your bike's endurance stat. Each bike also has a rider power. The extent to which you can rely on your bike will be affected by the operations resource of the pack. So there are 5 core stats with bikes. Height, a terrain stat, used for stunts and gambits in close paved environments like city streets. Open, for stunts and gambits in the open highway. Rugged, for stunts and gambits when off-road. Those are the 3 terrain stats. Badass, which is used for stunts and some other options. And endurance, how much of a beating your bike can take. It can be
Okay.
lowered as the consequence of gambits, duels, and even directly through some techniques. It can also absorb stains by stain shifting. If your endurance reaches 0, your bike is destroyed, and you cannot access bike-related abilities until you've rebuilt it. You can use the operations resource to repair and rebuild damaged bikes. So the bikes we have are Arashi, I know it'd be tempting to bring up Harley's. No, I'm bringing up Victory with that design.
Mm-hmm.
Hachidori, the cafe racer, 2 wheels and nothing else.
Yeah, apt.
Inazuma, the touring bike, 2 wheels and the kitchen sink, also apt.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That one is, your Kino's Journey kind of bike, I think.
Kamikaze, the sport bike, 2 wheels and God's own engine.
Let's look at this. Open 13. So there we go. And Badass 12. Rugged 3. So don't be taking that off-road.
Kyosha, the standard, 2 wheels and no bull.
Now that looks more like a Harley to me.
Yeah. Then Saijin, the dirt bike, 2 wheels and a cloud of dust.
Yep, Rugged 12.
And Tatsu, the chopper, 2 wheels and God's own pipes.
Here we have another one that's good on the highway.
And Tora, the dual sport, 2 wheels and anywhere you want to go.
This is an all-rounder, it looks like.
Oh, gravel, snow, bombed out stretches of desolate highway covered in the corpses of cannibal hillmen, no problem.
Hell yeah.
With deeds and legacies, this is something we already covered. You can use deeds during gambits to draw an additional card, or to draw bonus cards in duels, as well as establish flashbacks, which can replenish ki and earn additional lessons. When a session ends, lessons can be voted into deeds if all party members agree on that. It's best to keep the deeds simple. And every character has their own set of deeds, and so does the pack.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. Your legacy as a pack. The great battles that you've won.
So then we have the concept of lessons and evolution. Lessons are also how you're going to be doing advancement. When it's voted that you've learned a lesson, you can either record the events of that lesson as a new deed, shift up to 2 total points on your alignment codes, gain a single evolution, or exchange a previously learned style technique for a different one.
There we go. That way, here's how we properly do changing up of style techniques.
Now, evolutions are essentially a kind of advancement tree. That these are tied into the 3 core alignments, pack, sword, and highway, and can allow you to improve your role, your style, and your bike over time.
Cool.
The central upgrades are known as tiers, and unlocking them will significantly enhance you. The outer ones are lesser but still useful enhancements to baseline abilities. But it is essentially a Diablo-style tech tree, which they give an example here. So tier 1, 2, and 3, you evolve a rider power for this one. And then in between, you can either get +1 ki or +1 bike mod. So you kind of see how it's going.
Yep.
And And again, there's 3 trees: one for the law of the pack, one for the way of the sword, and one for the code of the highway, which grant different benefits. Now, if you max it out, what happens is ultimately up to you. At that point, you're no longer able to evolve your character's abilities along the standard diamonds, though you could get additional cheat deaths, for example, or use lessons to get new deeds, provided you haven't filled them all in.
Right. I imagine you'd have to play a while before you could get for that would all happen, though.
Mm-hmm. But then you did bring up stains earlier, so that's where we have that. Stains represent dishonor, excessive emotions, actions untrue to oneself, and so on. These are mainly earned through duels, but can also be earned through some gambits and role-playing.
Okay.
For every 7 stains you get a karmic retribution, a involuntary change to your character.
Okay, and that involves things like burn 1 or more points of a resource. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit.
Yep.
Permanently lower a bike's stat by 1, shift one of your alignments by 1 step. And that can cause alignment death.
Mm-hmm. After your karmic retribution has happened, you reset your stains.
Okay. So you get up to 7, something bad happens, then you're back, kind of back to normal for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, maybe people are kind of pissed at you for whatever you did in the meantime there.
Yep.
We got that cool woodcut.
Mm-hmm.
Proper ways to die.
Yep. So there are a few unbreakable rules. The cards are subordinate to story. There are no takebacks. When you put down a card, you can't do a my bad. It has been played. The suit order is spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs.
Yep, just like it is with in most games.
Mm-hmm. Card rank is more important than suit. Suit matters when blocking, but for the rest of the game, it doesn't matter. Everything is cyclical, including the cards. 2 is low, ace is high. Any 3 beats any 2, any jack beats any number, and the ace beats any face.
Okay.
2s beat aces, though.
Ooh.
Any already played ace can be beaten by a 2.
And then you start over, one imagines.
Yep. And jokers take effect immediately. They are shuffled into the deck face up. When one reaches the top of the deck, it immediately becomes an omen. Jokers do not get drawn and never go into hands. So, if the Joker shows up on the deck, that means bad shit's about to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when it comes to using the cards, which is on page 58, you have 2 decks of cards. The Motobushi play from one shared deck. The Sensei plays from a different deck. Obviously, when you're drawing, you're removing cards from the top of your deck and putting them in your hand, discarding, putting in a discard pile. When you are playing a card, you're playing it face up for everyone to see. Shuffle is what you'd expect shuffling to be. We already mentioned the whole 2s and aces thing.
Yep.
As well as the suit order, which is mostly going to come up when blocking.
Yeah.
Now, the Joker is always shuffled face up. When it reaches the top of the deck, you remove it and place it face up next to the discard pile.
And they represent dark omens.
Mhm. When 2 player omens are revealed, a wave is triggered. If both the sensei omens are already on the table when the second player omen is revealed, the wave becomes a storm. Waves and storms are used by the sensei to move directly against your pack. And player jokers are not returned to the deck until after waves and storms. And sensei jokers only return to the deck after storms. And while in the same scenario, omens remain in play.
Okay. Now I'm interested in what those waves and storms entail.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'd imagine it's a case of the sensei is about to make your life interesting.
Yeah.
But obviously you have your key pool as well, which we have talked about how you can get that back. Key can be tracked with tokens or other counters or just a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it to activate bike stunts during a duel. The cost of it is the current stage of the duel. You can add the bike's terrain rank to a gambit result, which costs 1 key. Empower style text, which the key cost varies. We talked about that. You can evoke deeds for bonus cards during a duel. The cost is the current stage of the duel. So it's definitely a case where you're going to be getting key easily, but you're also going to be spending it often.
Yes. Good. Encourage me to use the cool things I can do.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the pack resources, which we already covered as morale, sustenance, and operations, it determines how much reserves you have for those things. Morale is gained through leisurely activities. When you're keeping the spirits high, whatever that entails. When you have to do the no fun tasks, that costs morale. Like research and reconnaissance costs 1 morale per samurai per day to learn 1 important fact. You can trade morale for key once per day per samurai. And if you have to do a stakeout, that costs 1 point of morale per samurai per half day. If you don't have any morale, members can't get any spent key. As sustenance is your money and food. A round for the pack might cost 1 sustenance. A round for the house might cost 2. You also might spend it for a night with a geisha. When sustenance reaches 0, additional cards must be discarded. Each time you would draw 1 or more cards, you draw 1 additional card and immediately discard it. This is 1 card per draw, not per card drawn. And getting sustenance back can be done through trading and looting. But your operations... Good.
I was just going to say, this is more you might find it's worth your while to go bandit for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Your operations resource is your fuel, your grease, your spare parts, your scrap metal. Basically the stuff to make your broken stuff not broken. You can spend 1 point to restore 1 endurance to a bike. If the bike is destroyed, it can't be repaired and has to be rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuilding costs 7 points of operations, and that brings it to an endurance of 1. On the other hand, you can spend 10 points of operations for a permanent +1 to a stat. These kind of upgrades require a workshop, a lot of time, and the sensei's approval. With the exception of endurance, no bike stat can be increased higher than 14. If this is depleted, you cannot use bike stunts or bike stats. And you also don't have fuel to leave where you are.
So that becomes a problem for everyone in the area.
Hmm. Of
Oh
course,
goodness.
there are other ways to spend resources, and depending on what you're doing, there might be some automatic attrition. If you're on the road, operations goes down at one per day. Sustenance goes down 1 per 2 days. So no matter what, as you're adventuring and going on the road, you're gonna be spending your resources.
You are. There is a lot of there are quite a few stresses on your characters in this game.
Mhm.
Whether it's, just the basic facts of living, or the all the different relationships with your teammates, and the alignments. A lot going on here.
Mhm. There is an optional
Makes for
approach to have a more home base approach.
okay. Like maybe you're in a city or something.
Mhm. Which in that case you have a daimyo you answer to.
Mhm.
Though they do make clear that having a daimyo changes the pack dynamic significantly. And whoever's playing the Taicho has a bit more complexity. The Taicho leads the pack, the daimyo leads the Taicho.
Okay. Now we're talking once again about push and pull dynamics here.
Mm-hmm.
The daimyo may be forcing you to do things that your pack doesn't really like that well.
Yep. And when it comes to character death, which you are playing samurai, so remember the way is found in death.
Hmm?
When a PC is killed, their memory can live on as a empowering force, and establish a new deed to the pack legacy. On the other hand, you can use the cheat death tokens if you need to cheat death. Well,
Mm-hmm.
though your escape should be harrowing indeed. It says it might come at the cost of an alignment shift, or written down as a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But
The way of the happy player lies in just keeping on with the same character.
mhm.
Yep.
But then when it comes to conflict, we have 3 types. If it's a minor thing and just a matter of whether or not you can take a certain action, that isn't going to involve the deck at all. Just say what happens and it happens.
Hmm.
If it's minor but has some potential for side effects, it would be a gambit. If it's against another opponent, then it's a duel. And these can have either mechanical or narrative consequences. So, with say what happens, that's pretty self-explanatory. With a gambit, you would tell the sensei your intended course of action. The sensei will draw a card from the deck. You choose a card from your own hand. Both sides reveal it. The difference in the ranks of the cards determines the outcome. So you're taking your card, subtracting it from the sensei's. If it is 0 or lower, the player gets to narrate what the approach is. You either get a no but or a yes but. If the difference is 1 or higher, then it's a yes and. After you've played the card, you can nominate one of your existing deeds and explain how you believe it's relevant to the situation. If the sensei approves, you can play an additional card from the top and add its rank. And remember, the 2s and aces rules works just as much. If you're on your bike while doing a gambit, you can choose to add a relevant terrain rank to the gambit result after cards have been revealed. This costs 1 point of key. So it's a pretty simple setup.
Yeah.
You can have multiple people work together in a gambit, just adding the ranks of the cards together. And when omens are in play, the sensei draws and plays additional cards for gambits. So that's one way omens and storms can happen. They get more cards to make it more difficult to use for you to get the best successes for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Gambits can also use stains. The low-end results of a gambit can cause a stain based on the situation. And an easy way is the whole butt part if the sensei won out on that gambit.
Okay.
You can also use it to speed up the flow with an aftermath of a duel. Just so you don't have to repeat the duel with every party member.
Yeah. Oh.
But then we get to the meat of the mechanics, dueling.
Yes.
So, not all duels involve swords. Sometimes it might be a battle of words, a battle of poetry, or a bike race.
Okay, I'm down for that.
A big important conflict in the story is going to be resolved with duels. So, duels have 5 steps: the challenge, the selection of seconds, the questions, the duel itself divided into confrontation, struggle, and finishing blow, and the consequences.
Okay.
So with starting the duel, you take one card from your hand, slam it face down, and narrate how you're challenging. This card is the challenge card and also the initiative card. The way they describe it, a challenge is clearly not supposed to be subtle.
No. What are you doing if you're playing this game and you go with subtlety for that? Not only are you a samurai, you're a motorcycle samurai, who's like probably a ronin on top of it. So there you go.
So it's important to remember strike range, which strike range is the maximum honorable difference that your card can have when countering. We'll get to that a bit later. Obviously, you can decide whether or not the challenge happens now or later. So this is where you can get your pistols at noon kind of thing. Once your target accepts the challenge, they also have to slam their own card face down. It is technically possible to back down from a duel, but that can give you stains. If you are challenged and you decline, you get a number of stains equal to the rank of the challenged card. Now, if you're challenged and your opponent shows and you don't, you get a number of stains equal to the value of the challenge. If the challenger doesn't show for their own duel, they gain stains equal to the value of both initiative cards.
Oof.
If you refuse the immediate challenge and your opponent presses the duel anyway, you both gain stains equal to the value of the challenge card. And if you're on bikes at the time, and your bike has a lower badass than your opponent's, you increase the amount of stains you would take by the difference.
So really, when it comes to the immediate challenge and they press the duel anyway, it's like the double dog dare is what that really is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can also choose after this. You choose your second, basically, who's going to be your number two during a duel.
Hmm.
They of course have to be present. Then the questions, which is the questions the sensei is going to say when it comes to setting up the duel. What is the field? What are your weapons? What do you demand? This can be either blood, honor, or influence.
Okay.
How do you seek to attain that demand? This will determine which of the way of the sword stats will be used for strike ranges. Does the duelist fight for your own interest or the interest of the pack? Which is asked to one of the other players. If they decide the former, then the bonus card draw is based on Nomad. If it's the latter, then it's based on Brotherhood.
Okay.
Each duelist draws the number of cards that is applicable and to their hand. This does not apply to not to SCs or non-player characters. So by this point you've drawn additional cards and established your base strike range. Then we have the duel, which has 1 to 3 stages. The first stage is the confrontation, where weapons haven't been drawn yet. The second stage is the struggle. This is where you are starting the opening exchanges. No one's trying to go for the finish just yet. And the third is the finishing blow, where all bets are off.
I remember that there was that one. The beta had to potentially survive a finishing blow in a duel in the third stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So whoever issued the challenge acts first. You flip over the card you slammed on the table. And your initiative, and you're playing as if you're countering against a value of 0. So if this is outside your strike range, then that means you would get 1 stain. This also means that if you've got a strike range of 1, you can't start a duel without suffering a stain. Now, after that is turns, each player playing a maneuver and narrating their actions until one side concedes. You have to employ one of the following maneuvers, either countering a follow-up action and playing a card that's higher than your opponent's, blocking, how you try and stop your opponent's last stated action and try and play a card that is the same rank as your opponent's, but of an equal or higher suit. Concede, lay down your cards and accept you've been beaten, or escalate, which is pushing the conflict into the next stage. Before doing this maneuver, you can choose to use techniques, deeds, or attempt a bike stunt.
Cool.
So with counter, you have to play a card that's higher than what your opponent played. But at the same time, it can't be higher than your strike range unless you want to suffer a stain. Blocking, as mentioned, has to be the same number, but of a higher suit. Concede, and you're declaring that you want to end the duel, but the duel doesn't end until the other side accepts that concession.
Okay.
Or you can escalate, where you push aside the already played cards, but do not discard them. You concede the current stage to your opponent, and give them an allowance, and push forward into the next stage. Play a new card for the next stage, narrate how you're pressing this engagement to the next level of intensity. There can only be 2 escalations per conflict. After you escalate, it's again your opponent's turn. And remember, strike range still applies. And of course, then it goes into how you can use the timing for the maneuvers. You can also get more cards through using techniques, evoking deeds, spending favor, which doesn't cost key, but it means that you can use one card immediately, so it is somewhat of a risk. And of course, using techniques does cost key. The duel does not end until one duelist plays concede and the other duelist accepts.
Okay.
And depending on what you wanted for the concession, that determines what you're getting for what the victor is getting and what the defeated is getting. So we have a for the victor and for the defeated for I choose blood, I choose honor, and I choose influence. Sorry.
Mhm.
Stains are not applied until the consequences of the duel have been resolved. And of course, there are alternate approaches for duels.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of ways to apply that system.
Oh yeah. And I am going to skip a bit into Omens, Ripples, and the Storm when it comes to the Sensei section.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that's going to be on page 91.
All right. I'm there.
Mm-mm. So, whenever a portent arises during play that's story-driven, a ripple occurs. You flip a card from the deck and place it in the discard. And this is a more narrative version of Omens.
Mhm.
Omens, as mentioned, are portents, a step up from ripples. This happens when a Joker is revealed.
Mhm.
Once narrated, the Joker is placed face up on the table next to the deck. And while the Omen is in play, the Sensei gets the following bonuses. Constantly and cumulatively. 1 additional card flipped during ripples. 1 additional card added to the Sensei's hand at the start of a new duel. +1 to SC strike ranges. +1 additional card drawn during any gambit, its rank added to the first. Now, when it comes to
All right.
wave...
Definitely make things more deadly for the players.
Mhm. Now, when it comes to waves and storms, a wave happens when the Sensei has both... Actually,
I think that was one of the Jokers, right?
Yeah. It's waves and storms happen when there's more Jokers than just one. This means
There's always
that
the players' Jokers that trigger waves and storms.
Yep.
Okay.
so when it's triggered, resolving the event that triggered it, that triggered the Omen, and then pick an appropriate maneuver. These are basically maneuvers that the area is doing against you.
Mm-hmm. Bike down, burn a resource, eliminate faction. Yeah.
Uh, and these can be either done as a wave or as a storm. Waves happen when there's at least two omens in play. Storms happen
Mm.
when all four omens are on the table.
Mm.
And
I look.
the
I just looked
storm
at burn
options,
resources.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
nasty.
Oh man.
Uh, and of course, there's also the idea of doing factions, the concept of favor and disfavor,
Mhm.
um, which disfavor cards are banked cards that can be used during duels in the same way that players can use favor cards.
Okay.
Uh, but outside of that, the only thing left is a sample adventure, the Willow Ridge scenario.
Hmm.
So, with all of that said, what's your take on Motobushido?
Well, there's a lot here I like. There are. Let's see. There are. It's crunchy. You know, I don't know what I was expecting. I'm not sure I expected the level of crunch that we got, but I like the fact that it is a game that you don't just play, a random set of adventurers thrown together. You are a coherent pack, um, and you make your characters together. That is cool to me. Also, the fact that I talked a little bit about all the pushes and pulls against your character in this, all the different things, all the different like bad things that can happen to them as individuals and as a pack. Um, I'm interested to see in a game how the the players bounce off of each other in the different roles, right? That's interesting to me, and I don't think I can really predict that without seeing it in action. You know,
Mhm.
that would be cool. Um, I think the one of the things that might work against it is the crunch, because with duels, I think you're going to be doing a lot of book diving until you kind of get the more intuitive understanding of it, right? Something that maybe you never will. Maybe it's something you always have to go to the book for.
Mhm.
Either way, I would give this a shot. It does seem like a game that you couldn't just do to get the most out of it. You have to do it as a campaign. Probably wouldn't work as well as just a one shot, because even though you probably could still die, some of the interesting things that can happen to your character and your pack are more likely to happen over a period of time.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Uh, give it a on first blush, give it like an A minus, I guess.
Yep. Uh, as far from what I've seen, uh,
Mm.
there's a significant amount of flow when it comes to its moving parts. It using a deck of cards makes things significantly easier.
Mm-hmm.
I I appreciate also its dedication to theme.
Yeah.
That's always a big thing. It's always a big damn deal for me. I prefer games that have a very dedicated theme rather than a big old oh you can do anything approach.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
it,
it gives you like an intended experience.
mhm. Yeah, since one of the big lies that's often told in tabletop circles is this idea that one game can run everything.
No, no, no.
I I would much rather have games that are dedicated to a particular experience and that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I think of in both the games I like to play it, and with designing skies. I like to do it with an intended experience in mind, with intended themes in mind too.
Yeah, and there are cases where you can do the whole, oh, you can do a variety of things, but it's important to build around that concept rather than do it half-assed.
Yeah, agreed.
And for me, I just love seeing more card-based RPGs out there. Period.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not aware of too many. I mean, Deadlands is the first one to come to mind. And I guess we're going to be talking about another one pretty soon here. Is that not so?
That is correct. Starting next week, we will be delving into parcelings, which I have interviewed its creator in the past. Uh, Parcelings is heavily inspired by Mage, and I can best describe it as a card-based deck building game. And when I say deck building, I don't mean like Slay the Spire or something like that. Where the term words define you is quite literal. The magic within the system is team-based and is all around building a collection of words. And even though I said deck building earlier, it's not like it's using a special deck. It's using a playing card deck.
Okay, I was curious about that, especially with the word thing that seems to have going on there.
Mm-hmm. You'll see when we get to it. This is a game that I've had and kept and have wanted to tackle on the channel in one form or another for quite a while. And this time around, it just happened to land on the wheel. So
cool. Looking forward to it. I've not played a deck building TTRPG before, so I think that'll be a fun one to test out or to go through.
Oh yeah. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Hi, everyone.